Over. Back. 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 Whoop. Around. Walk on.
Over the autumn months of 2024, we've been preparing our ground and getting our soil ready for our self-mulching garlic crop and our veggies that'll grow over the winter period. We used our Oliver No. 10 single furrow plough, working from the outside in to create two distinct garden beds. Boys, walking on. We finished our ploughing just in time for the predicted downpour, in which we received about 40 mil overnight. 10 days later, the ploughed soil had settled enough that we could use the ride-on scarifier to help break it down. We have a large compost pile that we regularly add to. Our aged compost is spread by hand with the assistance of the horses. As much as I love to pitch in with the hard labour, Scott is more efficient on a shovel than what I am, particularly when you put him on fast forward. Our 2022 foals, Welsford Hewen and Welsford Willow, love watching the boys work. Heading back to load up again and repeat. We are yet to acquire a ground-driven manure spreader, and this method of spreading our composted manure was quite time-consuming. We both work off-farm full-time, so our aim here was to get a full row done each evening after work until we had at least 3 full rows of our spreaded composted manure. Eventually the task of spreading manure was done. Then we used our ride-on discs to spread that composted manure through our soil. After a few passes with the discs, our composted manure was spread nicely through our soil, and our next task was to continue to add with organic life fertiliser. As you can see, we'll have a crack at converting anything that's ground driven to horse drawn. Every season is another opportunity to experiment for us. Our experimenting is not only about what grows in this climate on this property, but also what we can manage with our limited time. This season, we're experimenting with planting our garlic into a live cover crop of oats. Firstly, we broadcasted our oat seed. Our pelletised fertiliser and oat seed was now on top of the soil, so we started working that in with the harrows. It was great to see our bees enjoying this season's popcorn. Then a final pass over with a bar and chain, just to try and cover as much of that seed as possible. We have an abundant bird life in our region, and every time we've seeded so far, it has felt like we've attracted every cocky, corella, galah, rosella, and any other local parrot who's after a free feed. As much as we do love our birds, the sunflowers had to come out so that we weren't giving off any bright yellow beacons as to where the feed was. Then about a week later, our oats sprouted. After allowing the oats to grow for about 8 weeks, it was time to start knocking them down so that we could prepare to plant our garlic. Our aim here is to disturb the root and lay the oats down so that they yellow off and become the mulch for our garlic. We adjusted our ride-on scarifier so it only had the one centre tine so that we could rip in the lines that we were going to plant the garlic in. Each year we aim to plant our garlic before the end of April and then aim to harvest before the end of November. These Italian purple cloves are the 4th generation of this garlic that's been grown on our property. Each season when we harvest, we put aside 6 or 7 kilos of the garlic we want to replant and keep that aside for the next April. With autumn coming to a close, our garlic is up and our oats are laying down and yellowing off as planned. We also put in a second small crop of oats that we can top up our mulch with. It's lovely to see everything happily growing as we come into winter. Our veggie seedlings look like they're almost ready to start scarifying with the horses. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for our updates.